I just do not understand why we're even still trying to make multiverse movies when Everything Everywhere All at Once did it perfectly.
It's like when they made a pepperoni pizza and they just kept making stuff. Why? Thank you, but how dare you?
Do we need anything other than pepperoni pizza? Hello, everybody. Welcome again to Keystone Film Review. We just saw Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Ooh.
Wow. You did that.
Directed by Joaquim dos Santos, Kemp Powers, and Justin K. Thompson. It is written by Phil Lord, Christopher Miller, Dave Callahan, and based on characters by Stan Lee. Starring too many people. Shamik Moore, Haley Steinfeld, Oscar Isaac, Jake Johnson, Issa Rae, and others. This, of course, is the long-awaited sequel for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Came out 2018, 2019?
2018.
2018?
Now I'm questioning it. I'm pretty sure it was 2018 because I had just moved to Virginia. And
those were the dark days.
Those were some elementary, my dear Watson, days. 2018.
Yes,
I'm a magician. Can't believe you found it so
yes.
fast.
But of course, as always with Marvel movies and this channel, disclaimer: I don't care about Marvel. You might not like some things that I say. That is perfectly fine. I'm not trying to change your opinion if you love Marvel. Just giving an outsider's perspective. Glenn kind of likes it more than me. Kind of getting tired of it though, I believe.
Pretty much a nail on the head.
But yeah, going back to the Across the Spider-Verse, I saw that one after all the hype came out and didn't really care about it, mostly because of the hype. The second time I watched it, I enjoyed it more. So like, I don't hate it, but I'm also not as crazy about it as everyone else. This one is why we're here. We're here to talk about it. Glenn.
Yeah. Glenn watched the 2018 one and thought it was one of the best Marvel films that we've seen in a long time. Top 5, I think. It's up there. About this movie, it was a long movie, man. 2 hours and I think 15 or some minutes, something like that. The slogan that I immediately told Mike from the first about 15-minute mark is, man, this movie's just ADHD, the movie.
That is the case with a lot of Phil Lord and Chris Miller movies. Like they did the Lego movies. They have done many beloved family movies that are just absolutely batshit insane. For the most part, in a good way. This one, I felt it was a bit much.
For explanation,
yes.
if you've watched the first one, it can be a little bit crazy from time to time how they do some scenes and it's very flashy and very comic-y and all that stuff. Like all the speech bubbles and whatnot. This one, the first 5 minutes, it should have came with an epilepsy warning because it's fucking slapping you in the face with all types of things. Just like the title screens alone, it was like,
yeah.
I honestly thought I was being hypnotized at a certain point. But it is very flashy. There's again, the first 15 minutes, like there's something happening, and then every time the scene kind of changes and then goes back to that scene, something in the background changes. So it's like you're constantly like, oh, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? It's ADHD to the max, like ultra high definition.
And it's hard to keep track of.
Yeah.
Where the first one still had that craziness, but it was easy to keep track of the action. There was a lot of parts in this where it just felt like things didn't land as hard as the directors probably intended, because it was hard to see what the fuck was going on a lot of the time.
It would also do, like you were just saying, it would also do things like it would do something really flashy, but it would only hold the frame for like maybe 2 or 3 seconds. So what you were supposed to see would be like, oh, that would have been cool if I could see what the fuck just happened.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of like, obviously you see how many Spider-Men there are in this thing. You don't get a moment to kind of take in what just happened in that part because it's already moved to the next part. And you're like, oh, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I felt like a YouTube kid eating his fucking yogurt at the dinner table, but I got my iPad. I'm all over the place, man. Scratching my neck.
It felt like a lot of the information that was necessary came and went really fast. For one, example, there is a Cockney character, and he speaks in Cockney rhyming slang, which, you know, if you speak that, is great. But if not, you have no idea what the fuck they're saying, which is kind of part of the joke. But in some sentences, they would translate what it means, but it would be on the screen for like a quarter of a second.
Yeah.
And it'd be like 2 sentences long. There's probably only like 1% of the population that can read that fast. We're definitely not it.
I'm not. I can't even breathe
We're not
that
it.
fast.
And I'm assuming the majority of the people going to see a Spider-Man movie are not fast enough readers to read that. Maybe it wasn't necessary and there was just kind of a joke, but like, don't put it in if it's like, if we're not gonna have time to read it. Don't even bother putting it in.
But to counterpart that, it also offers, for people who aren't us, a lot of rewatchability to kind of catch the background stuff, to kind of catch the Cockney bullshit, to kind of catch the... Again, we're not that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I might watch this movie again, but
I
I'm
don't
not gonna
like
go crazy.
I don't like being coerced into rewatches by being like, oh, you missed a bunch of stuff, go watch it. I don't like that. I like it when it's like subtle, and then when you rewatch it, you notice more things. I don't like it when it's just like, I need to rewatch that to see the 90 million things I missed. It's capitalism at its worst in that case.
It's
a metaphor for capitalism. It did have a lot of really funny parts. Obviously, with the writers, Phil Lord, Chris Miller, they're really funny guys.
And you gotta have funny parts. It's
yeah,
Spider-Man.
with Spider-Man, yeah. But it definitely just kind of was like rapid fire, and it, like you said, ADHD, where it's just so much going on at one time that it was hard to keep track, and it kind of became a bit of a headache. Maybe I'm too old for these kinds of movies now. That is a possibility. I'm not saying that I'm not, but it was too much. Because the overall plot was actually pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But it felt like that took a side seat to as many gags as they could put in.
As many gags and as much nostalgia and as much, oh, there's that Spider-Man. Oh, there's this Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's just as, like with No Way Home. With
The live action one.
Yes,
Yeah.
with No Way Home, of course people are gonna love that because it's just straight fucking nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
But like, there's 2 pieces of nostalgia combined with the new thing.
Well, more if you count the villains, but it is.
Well, yeah, but
two universes.
Series of. But this one had everything locked and loaded and shooting is like fucking booming you, and like I'm glad you just said that. I think like you just said you think you're too old for it now.
I might be.
I was actually thinking at the end of this movie, I'm like, if I saw this movie when I was, you know, when my dad was taking me to see Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, like the Tobey Maguire ones, I would have fucking loved this movie. Yeah. I think this would have been the best movie of all time. But like, I'm glad you said that, because now I'm just like, that was good. But like, the crowd behind us, they were all fucking happy and cheering. The guy behind us was breathing like a motherfucker, and kicking my seat a little bit. But,
which is why I didn't want anyone sitting behind me.
Yeah, now I understand. But I'm not that audience anymore.
Yeah.
It's a personal thing. Don't hate us in the comments.
Yeah.
Again,
that's perfectly fine. Not every movie's made for everyone. So.
I wish I could feel that way.
Yeah.
I still liked it. I still liked it a good chunk. I just think there was a lot of fast pacing, and then a lot of what felt like slow burn, even though it was good. But a lot of there was a chunk there where it was just like, this didn't have to be this long.
Yeah.
But I wish the slow burn part was more concentrated on.
Mm-hmm. Slight spoiler. If I'm not going to cut this out, but it was marketed this way to some capacity because I knew it and I didn't care about this movie at all. So I found out somehow. So they're not hiding it. But if you want to go in completely blind, skip ahead like 30 seconds. This is part 1 of what will be probably 2 or 3 movies that make an arc. So I knew that going in. So when I was watching it, this ends like 50 times, more than Return of the King ends. And it just kind of got boring. Yeah. Where it was just like, it kept adding stuff and adding stuff that would have been great openers for the next movie, but it just kept going and going and going. And ultimately the ending was good, but it became
There was a point.
It was just too boring. Like, it had such a crazy scene that it could have ended on and been a perfect cliffhanger, but then it kept going and going and going. And for someone like me who didn't really care to begin with, I was just like, oh, come on!
There was a point in the last half hour, I checked my phone, I'm like, how are they going to wrap this shit up? I didn't know it was a part 1.
Yeah.
So, I don't...
I leaned over to him and said, this is more endings than
Yeah.
Return of the King. You're probably like, what the fuck are you
All
talking
I heard
about?
was King. I'm like, damn right he is. But like I looked at the phone, I'm like, how are they gonna wrap this shit up in 30 minutes? And then like 10 more minutes went by. I'm like, there's no way they're wrapping this shit up in 20 minutes. And then 10 more minutes, I'm like, they're doing more than what I think they're doing here. And then I found out that there was a part 2 coming out.
But ultimately, it's a compelling story. They don't focus enough on the compelling part and stretch it for at least 15 to 30 minutes longer than it really deserved, in my opinion. Again, we may be too old. Like you, I probably would have loved this when I was a kid, but...
I also think a big thing is that we saw the trailer like every week we came to the movies.
Yeah.
And a lot of the trailer, if we didn't see any of the Spider-Man stuff, like the universes of Spider-Mans, like in the hub or whatever the fuck they want to...
Spoodermans?
The Spooderman. There was no Spooderman, by the way. Sorry. Because I fucking backstab. Anyway, if we didn't see any of that in the trailer and saw all of that natural, I think that would have, like... Because we saw it so many times in the trailers that we're like, okay, this part can just fucking move on now. But, you know, if you didn't see the trailer, you're probably happier about it.
Yeah. The part I was most excited for, there is a, 3-second shot of an extra. Miles Morales lands on a car, and the person driving the car looks like my college roommate who loves Spider-Man, and I cannot wait to text him about this. He works for Netflix, so I don't think he knows anyone that would put him in intentionally, but I just love it because it looks exactly like him, but with like a mask on, like a COVID mask. And
that guy.
Like, yeah. I was just like, holy shit. My friend who loves Spider-Man is in Spider-Man, and that is canon in my head, and you can't change my mind.
As long as they don't disrupt canon.
Don't disrupt the canon. But yeah, overall, it's a fine movie. If you're a fan of Spider-Man or really care about Spider-Man, you're probably going to love this. And so you should take everything we say with a grain of salt. Again, we may be too old. I'm almost 34. You just turned 30. So we're over the hill. We're no spring chickens, if you will.
1 foot in the grave.
1 foot in the grave. Thank the Lord. It's almost over. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. I think a lot of people are going to love this. I'm excited that they're going to love this. I will probably never watch this on my own again. If someone wants to watch it while I'm around, I will watch it. But I don't care enough to rewatch it. And I'm a little angry that I have to watch another one. Because that's just how my brain works. I need to see it finished, but I don't want to see it finished. But I need to.
The one thing I'll say before we get into ratings, I thought the artistic style was good. They have a lot of different styles in this. Especially there's one scene with the Spot, kind of where he turns a different color, and it's like, holy shit, that was a pretty cool part. Yeah. But there's all throughout the movie, there's like a bunch of different, besides the little comic style, they do a whole bunch of different, they do like watercolor and all that bullshit. I think every style was great. The movie looked fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. It looked absolutely fantastic. There was one point where it was raining, and it was like the scenery was watercolors just like going down. That was a beautiful scene. And that is one thing I love about Into the Spider-Verse, is that before that, every single movie was trying to emulate like a Pixar movie. It was all like the same boring 3D design. But ever since Spider-Verse, other movies have been branching out into different styles. Of course, you have like Meet the Mitchells, yes. Which I believe is also Phil Lord and Chris Miller. And you also have the new Puss in Boots movie has like a beautiful animation style. It showed to studios that people want different styles of animation, and it has made animation so much more interesting because of that. So because of that,
we've always wanted it.
Yes, we've always wanted it.
We're just finally getting it now.
Yes, it only took 20 years of boring 3D animation to finally get to it. I'm excited for what the future of animation has to offer, and we have Into the Spider-Verse to thank for that.
And we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles coming up from the same studio.
That looks gorgeous as well. So
I'm hyped for that.
Yes. But Ratings. I really didn't care for this, but I acknowledge it is good. It's just not my cup of tea. I think I'm going to give it the same thing I gave Into the Spider-Verse, which is a 3. And that is because I understand it's good. It's just not my cup of tea for both of those movies. So 3 for me.
Mine is bound to change because I'm going to rewatch this. Right now, I was kind of just overwhelmed from it.
It's very overwhelming.
Especially with the crowd and all that. I think watching it at home will probably be different. So I want to give it a 3.5. I want to give it a 4. But a lot of the Spider-Man stuff, like Spider-Man stuff, overwhelmed it a lot to where I had to just bring it down a notch. And I wish PlayStation 4 Spider-Man had a little bit more action. But that's all I'll say. A 3.5 for now. Bound to change. Booyah.
Could go up or down. Who knows?
Could go up or down.
Yes. But yeah, that's all we have to say. If you have seen Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, tell us what you thought down below. Which Spider-Man is your favorite Spider-Man?
Mine's Ben Reilly.
Mine is still Peter Porker. It will always be Peter Porker. Nothing.
Just because of John Mulaney?
No, it's a great concept, and I love it. John Mulaney does help, but it's a hilarious concept. So let us know all those things down in the comments, and we will see you in the next video.
Thwip.
Is Spooderman a real thing?
Spooderman? It's a meme.
Oh, okay.
That basically has become a real thing, yeah.
Okay.
It's one of the best memes ever.
Bye-bye.